This year, the rules of resume writing have changed. Job seekers are applying to dozens or even hundreds of jobs and just getting ghosted. So if your resume isn't keeping up, you're missing out on some golden opportunities. In this two-part video series, I'm answering FAQs about resume writing in general that I get from job seekers so you can finally stand out, get some interviews, and land that new job this year. My name is Sara Camilo, and I'm a certified career coach and certified resume writer with over 15 years of recruiting experience. Most job seekers make the same mistakes on their resumes, and to be blunt, they can be deal breakers. I've compiled 15 common questions that I get about resume writing, including some of those. I did a Q&A box on my Instagram, so if you're not following me there, please do. But I'm gathering some of those questions I received as well, and then I'll be answering those questions with current tips that work today for job seekers. And before I jump in, I'd also like to do a little shout out to the Milwaukee Brewers, who are killing it right now and actually leading the major leagues right now at this moment. If you're a Cubs fan, please don't leave. I am an equal opportunity resume writer, and I definitely want to help anybody and everybody. All right, kicking this off with the basic one. Number one, do I still need a one-page resume, or are 2 pages acceptable now? One-page resumes are fine for early career professionals, or if you have less than, say, 5 years, 6 years of work experience. If you have more than that, especially if you are over 10, 12 years of work experience or at a high level, executive level, it's definitely the norm to have a 2-page resume. And it's often preferred. You don't want to cut out any key accomplishments. The key here is relevance. Every line, every bullet should earn its spot on your resume. On a side note, I've had some clients who have been requested to include a 1-page resume only in the application. So obviously in that case, make sure it's condensed to 1 page. Number 2, how do I tailor my resume for different roles without rewriting it completely? So you want to create a master resume with all of your experiences and then adjust from there. Number 3, and I knew I was going to get this one. How can I make sure my resume gets past ATS filters? I like to preface this answer with something I always say when I get this question, is be careful what you're reading online about ATSs. There are so many incorrect articles and recommendations when it comes to ATSs, so make sure that you trust your source that you're reading it from. When it comes to your resume for an ATS, you want to keep the formatting clean. No tables, no graphics, no icons, no columns, no headshots, and definitely no text boxes, just to make sure that it's compatible with all ATSs out there. Now, there are some ATSs that can read through all that, but you don't always know which one you're working with. So follow this for the resume that you use for your online applications. Also, refer to this video here when it comes to the ATS. I talk all about the ATS and why you have to upload your resume, and then the next screen says, please include your work experience. If you've been job searching for 1 month or even 1 year, you know that frustrating and infuriating section when you feel like you're just doing double work, but this video will explain the background and why you have to do that. Following that simple format will make sure you are compliant with the ATS, but now we want to help your ranking in the job folder. So start by aligning your resume as well as you can to the open job description, but just use that as a guide. You want to match some keywords, skills, tools like tech skills, job titles, and experience within your resume and your skills section, and then throughout your resume. Next, you can use those AI platforms like JobScan and Teal and their resume match feature. I talk all about it in this video here, but it's extremely important that you use this feature correctly. So many people don't use it correctly, then you're doing yourself a disservice in the job application. This video is a 4-minute video. Refer to that so that you use it in the most optimal way. In short, don't rely on that score that you get with the resume match, because there are so many outdated job descriptions out there. So watch that video, then use that resume match tool. It is extremely beneficial if you use it correctly. That video will make this make all much more sense to you. But basically, we are trying to get your job application as high as possible in the job folder that you apply for. Number 4, this is an add-on to number 3. Is it okay to use a resume template tool online, or will the ATS reject it? So it really depends on where you're getting this resume template from. A lot of them do not align with the ATSs. They typically include text boxes throughout and graphics and all of that, like I just went into, that are not compliant with ATSs. And they just create technical issues when you apply, and then you're misrepresented in the job folder. So to reiterate, stick with a clean, text-based, 1-column format resume. Now, if you like those resumes that are more colorful and have more designs in it and a little telephone by your phone number, things like that, you can absolutely use those. Use those and then Email it to people or bring it to an on-site interview, especially if you work in a design-related industry, right? So it's okay to do that. Email it out, bring it on site to an interview, or hand it out directly at a networking event, but just don't use that format for your online application. Trust me. Number 5, what keywords should I focus on if I'm changing careers? This is a great question. I have 3 tips here. It's so important to use a resume title highlighting the job that you're pursuing at this time, especially when it comes to changing careers. It helps the recruiter read your resume with that job in mind for you. The second tip is to really prioritize transferable skills throughout your resume, everywhere. The summary, the skills, accomplishments, everywhere. And specifically in the top half of the first page of your resume. You want that front and center for them so that they're reading about your experience in this new path. For example, project management, stakeholder engagement, communication, data analysis. A lot of these skills can be used in multiple job functions and multiple industries. So feel free to use kind of those skills throughout to really highlight your experience in this new field. And the third tip is you want to use the language from the job posting and even similar job postings that you are seeing with the same title so that your skills really resonate in this new field. Number 6, my company doesn't track metrics. How do I turn my daily job responsibilities into measurable accomplishments? This is a great question because so many career professionals and resume writers like myself always recommend you to write your resume in a way that includes a lot of metrics and data and quantitative information. However, what if you don't have that information? Maybe your company doesn't track it, or maybe your manager doesn't share that with you and your team. And as a side note, if they don't share the results with you, that's a little odd, especially in today that we're in this like data-driven and reporting and all of that kind of world. It is very odd. So ask for it if you haven't already. But yeah, ask for it from your manager just so you have some benchmarks and you can see how you and your team are doing. Or better yet, be proactive and start establishing some metrics for your team and goals for your team and tracking for your team. Be proactive in that way. Add that to your resume too. Getting back to your resume and what you should do here. So when you're writing your resume bullets, you want to shift your mindset from what you did to the impact that you made, either individually or again as a team. You always want to consider the full scope of every project and initiative that you've been a part of. Here are some examples. Instead of the bullet saying, manage social media accounts for the organization. That's a huge responsibility in itself, but how do you make it better and how do you make it even more specific? So you want to ask yourself things like, what did these accounts do for the company? Then continue to dig even deeper. Include if you were the one who established these accounts for the team. Or maybe you had accounts on LinkedIn and Instagram, but you were the one that initiated getting the company on TikTok or whatever new platform that they're joining. So then you want to include how did they grow as far as followers or reach or engagement or any other metric that you can track. There's so many analytics on these platforms, so include all that you can. If they were already established on these platforms, then again, go back to what impact did you make? Did you make new partnerships with some brands or influencers or start influencer marketing? And then do you have a specific social media campaign that went viral or really stood out for the organization? Ideally, you always want to look for numbers, percentages, outcomes. Again, if you don't have them, it's okay to use estimates and then include words like approximately or on average if you don't have the exact figures. Then lastly, make your bullets really strong and aim for like impactful words like the first ever or increased, improved, automated. Whenever I'm writing a resume, and I said this in an earlier video, I'm always trying to one-up each bullet. How can I make it even better? And I kind of feel like I could make a whole video just on this topic. So if that's something that you're interested in, comment tip number 5 below, and I'll try to work that out if you feel like you need it. Question number 7, what's the best way to highlight AI, tech, or digital skills, even if my job wasn't tech heavy? This is another great question. I was excited for this one. So yes, as we all know, AI is a growing conversation topic for your resume and for interviews across all industries and businesses. So you can highlight these AI tools and technology by literally making a tech stack section on your resume of AI tools or emerging technology in your field. And then you want some bullets throughout about how you use them. And even if you work in IT, how you are a part of educating employees throughout the organization or maybe training employees across the organization on these tools. And then even better, say you were selected for a side project within the company and working with cross-functional employees as well around a new software implementation at your company that was going to be used enterprise-wide. Sometimes then you are selected to be the trainer for your team to make sure your team is aware of any updates, highlights, enhancements, new products, anything like that. This is an excellent achievement to call out. And on a side note, in general, across all resume, anytime you're working on your resume, anytime you've been selected or tapped on the shoulder or picked for a side project or something just outside of your day-to-day work, definitely include that in your resume. Here's an example of how you could write a bullet like that. Leverage ChatGPT or Claude or whatever AI tool you use to streamline client proposals, cutting turnaround time by 30%. So showing this impact, it's simple like that. Showing the impact that you made with new technology is really going to demonstrate that you can adapt, you're forward thinking, and you're tech savvy. Okay, that's the end of part 1. Come back for part 2. I'm going to answer even more questions around should you include personal interests or freelance work or volunteer activities, if you really need a skills section today. And we're going to talk even more about what recruiters look for exactly within your resume. So comment below with any other questions that you have about resume writing. I can always make a part 3 if needed. And lastly, please like this video if you like the video and comment Brewers below if you're a fan of the Brewers also. I'll see you in part 2.